Okay, so let's talk a little bit about steroids. Very different structure from triglycerides and fatty acids. You'll find this basic structure to all steroids. What you need to realize is that there are carbon atoms at each point on this. So each corner of these geometric figures, we've got 3 hexagons, 6-sided figures, and a 5-sided pentagon over here. So there are a total of 17 carbons here. Sometimes the rings are referred to as A, B, C, and D rings. And the carbons are numbered this way, starting here at number 1. Write these numbers on the inside. 2 here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we jump up to here, 4, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then we go over this way to 15, 16, and 17. So you're going to find this in all steroids. If we were to have a hydroxyl group here, at carbon 3, then what we have is called sterol. S-T-E-R-O-L, sterol. And all of these other things are shaped like sterol, so they are steroid. Oid means shaped like, essentially. So the most famous of the sterols, and sterols have this alcohol, this hydroxyl group at carbon 3. The most famous of the sterols is one called cholesterol. We usually pronounce it cholesterol. And cholesterol has a methyl group here at carbon 10. It has another methyl group up here at carbon 13. And this really gets interesting. We'll go up to a carbon. We'll have one carbon branched out over that way. We'll have another one here, 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 and one branching off up here. So again, carbons at all of these endpoints of these line segments. So that's cholesterol. And of course, cholesterol gets a bad rap. It's bad for your cardiovascular system. Animal fats tend to contain cholesterol, and we get our cholesterol level checked at the doctor all the time. But cholesterol is something that is naturally produced by your body. Your liver makes it, and our body can take this cholesterol and modify it in quite a few ways. One of the important things that happens with cholesterol is that it gets sent to the skin, where ultraviolet light will cause it to be converted into an inactive form of vitamin D. So vitamin D is actually a steroid. That particular form of vitamin D is not active. It will be activated by enzymes in the kidneys. And vitamin D is necessary for absorbing calcium from the foods that we eat. Cholesterol gets its name. This chole prefix here refers to bile, and cholesterol is one of the components in bile. If you're not familiar with bile, I'm sure you are, just maybe not by name. If you've ever been sick, throwing up, and you get down to the point where there is nothing left in your stomach to throw up, to the dry heaves, about the only thing that will come up is a bitter tasting, green to orange colored substance that is bile. Now, bile is made by the liver. It contains cholesterol. It has a few other related compounds to that, a few other sterols. I'm not going to try to draw all of those. One of those is called cholate. There's another one called chinodioxycholate. But the chol in those words refers to the bile that they are part of. So again, bile is created by your liver. It then gets stored in your gallbladder. And when you eat a fatty meal and those fats reach the small intestine sends out a hormone signal, something called cholecystokinin, that triggers the gallbladder to contract, to squeeze and pump the bile through a tube called the bile duct into the small intestine. The bile salts, then, the cholate, the chinodioxycholate, they help to emulsify the lipids, which means it breaks the fat globules up into smaller pieces and distributes them in the watery environment of the inside of the intestine. And from there, digestive enzymes can get to those things and to those lipids and break them down. So anyway, that's a lot to say, I know. But steroids all have this basic 4-ring structure with 17 carbons, and then what's added and where it's added changes it into things like cholesterol, cholate, chinodioxycholate. I should probably try to look some of those up for you. Now, some other important steroids in our body. We have several steroid hormones that are produced in the body. Most of them are produced in the adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands sit on top of your kidneys. The name adrenal is a little bit misleading. The ad prefix really means beside. Renal means kidneys. They're not really beside kidneys. They're actually on top of kidneys. For that reason, they are sometimes referred to as suprarenal glands, which literally means on top of the kidneys. But in most animals, since most animals walk on all fours, they are actually beside. They are in front of the kidneys. It's only us upright walking humans that reposition them so that they're sitting on top. Anyway, adrenal glands, the cortex of the adrenal glands, which is the outer layers of it, produces over 30 different steroid hormones. We also have our sex hormones. Testosterone in men, progesterone and estrogen in women. Estrogen, not really a single hormone, but a group of hormones that includes one called estrone, one that's called estradiol, another called estriol. Again, I should probably try to look up illustrations of these. I'm not going to attempt to draw them out. It would take too long. But those are all steroid hormones. You're going to find this basic 4-ring structure in those. They are lipid, which means they are not water soluble. That means that when they are transported in the bloodstream, they're usually attached to a carrier protein that is water soluble. And those are all very important in life function. I'm going to look and see if I can find some pictures of those. Here are cholate and chinodioxycholate. As I said, these are found in bile as well. You'll notice these are copyrighted by McGraw-Hill Education. These are part of the textbook that I use for Chemistry 105, which is the Denniston General Organic and Biochemistry text. So it's a really good book. Here you see cholate is a sterol because it has the hydroxyl group over here at carbon number 3 of that 4-ring system. But this, of course, is different. Here we see a carboxylate group. That makes this different from cholesterol that we saw a minute ago. If we look at this, no, that's not the one I was looking for. That certainly isn't. Oh, it's pretty. Here we go. Here's progesterone, testosterone, and estrone. Now, something you should notice in the names of these is the ONE ending. indicating that there is a ketone functional group here. So you notice that in progesterone and testosterone, that hydroxyl that would make those be sterols has been reduced and turned into, oxidized. I said that backwards. That's been oxidized so that we have a ketone group here. So we've got a ketone here on progesterone, a ketone here on testosterone. Estrone has a ketone group up here. You'll also notice that in estrone, this circle indicates that every other bond around this six-sided figure is a double bond, which essentially makes this a benzene ring. You'll notice that in testosterone, there's only one double bond in that ring of six. Same with progesterone. So, let's see. Try to find a couple of others here. I think maybe this one. Nope. There we go. Norlutin. That is found in certain birth control pills. You see the similarity with that. And the natural estrogens. Now here's another steroid. This is cortisone. This is made by the adrenal cortex. There's also one similar to this called cortisol, better known as hydrocortisone. I don't remember with certainty, but I think that the hydroxyl is here in hydrocortisone. I should probably look that up, but you've probably lost interest by now anyway. Cortisone is an anti-inflammatory. You may have had an anti-inflammatory steroid shot. You may have gotten one in a joint like a knee. We'll sometimes get steroid shots when we're sick, and they will be very close to this in structure. One other one, let's see here, get to the right one. Don't know if that's it. Yeah, here's aldosterone. This is another steroid created by the adrenal cortex. This plays a role in regulating sodium and potassium levels. Okay, so that is what I have for you about steroids. And let me switch this view back over here. I hope that helps a little bit. There are probably some other things I should have said, but we do have some time limitations. All right, so that's going to be it.